All right, let's get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Hart. I'm the Vice President of Business Development here at ACDI. And today I've got Rafael Adjunta with me. Raf, introduce yourself.
Yes, Rafael Adjunta, product manager here at ACDI. I'm mostly focusing on our print management section and anything related to that.
He's our guru. Raf's been with us for a long time now, and he actually invited me to join him on this Unpacking Partner Connect. He's done quite a few of these before, and this time he allowed me to come in and enjoy the show with him. So we're going to kind of flip the script with this one. And I want to take time to just talk to Raf about what these Partner Connects mean to him, coming from being our ACDI product manager for PaperCut, and these the Partner Connect meetings, what it means from his standpoint, from our partner standpoint, and then what you can expect of ACDI. So, Raf, we had a Partner Connect last week, I believe. What were your thoughts? Any surprising things? Hopefully not, because you know everything, obviously. But what did you think about it?
No, it's incredibly informative for especially our partners, right? We as ASCs or authorized solution centers for PaperCut get a chance to talk to them basically every day, every week. And we're pretty well aware of what's being planned and what's being worked on. But these events are especially catered to our partners, right? It's in the name, Partner Connect. And it's just to make sure if our partners haven't had the chance to have those deeper conversations with us, they can see it straight from the source of what's being planned, what's being worked on, and that we're addressing the needs and wants for the industry, right? As the industry changes, we got to change with it. So
I agree. And from my side as well, I think it's another way for PaperCut to communicate to our partners and as well as our team, right? For them to be able to share information, share roadmaps, share exciting new things that are coming down or challenges, right? And that's what I love about it. PaperCut's always open in their communications with us. And so these Partner Connects, I do find very informative. And why we're doing this is we know that not everyone is able to attend those meetings live. We do have recordings of those. You can go back and visit that or listen to that at your own leisure, or you can just spend the next 15 to 20 minutes with Raf and I, and we'll give you a high-level review of what's going on. So, Raf, in this last one, what were some of the key takeaways that you want to talk about today?
well, one of the things that I think is really interesting, the industry is changing, right? WPP is a huge hot topic. And we know that PaperCut already, to some extent, has some solutions for our end users there. With MF, if you're using mobility print and print deploy, you already have the ability to support those WPP workstations. Now, most people either don't realize or haven't seen firsthand that this is more of a workstation standard. So again, this is addressing those workstations that have WPP enabled. But the interesting thing, and like I said, we have to be very nimble. We have to go where the market's going. PaperCut has been really insightful because the adoption rate for WPP isn't nearly as high as the adoption rate of ARM64 computers. So for those of you that don't know, ARM64 computers are those computers that have different chipsets than your standard computers. Like Intel, AMD were the top dogs for a long time. ARM64 are now coming in play. And a lot of times administrators are allowing these devices to come in and they have no idea how to support them, right? So that's almost like a more growing pressing need that's going on. And PaperCut is addressing, both with Hive and PaperCut MF, those ARM64 customers. So Mark, are you aware of like the newest devices that support those?
Right. So I'm going to take a step back, and Ross throwing out all kinds of acronyms, and he's WPP and you here and there and left and right. So let me see what my Kentucky brain can kind of wrap around this, right? So WPP is Windows Protected Prints. And this really started coming about a couple of years ago with the Print Nightmare introduction within Microsoft, right? And so these ARM64 drivers, which is a whole new, like Ralph was saying, it's a whole new chipset that's competing against the Intels of the world, right? And so when you look at AMD and Intel, those were like x64 drivers, 64-bit, 32-bit, 16-bit. We keep going back, right, of how we built in that progression. ARM64 is a completely different chipset that you have to look at. So you can't use a traditional print-based driver that we're all used to with the x64 drivers on an ARM64 machine and vice versa. So now we've got these two competing solutions that are out there, and it's becoming a management kind of concern for IT infrastructure. And so what PaperCut is doing is taking a step back and saying, hey, we need to be able to working best of both worlds. And so they're introducing new technologies, if you will, to continue to support the x64 that we have out there. But with WPP and moving forward with ARM64, they're going to be introducing the new drivers there, and actually driverless printing, if you will. It's going to be more of a, Ross, how would you refer to it? Like an application or something like that? It's going to be moving forward, or how would you kind of break that down and explain that?
Right. So going to WPP, that's basically printerless, right? And there's a lot of OEMs that are already working on what's called print support application. So PSA is report.
PSA. There you go.
And you gave me a good reminder, those acronyms that everybody knows them. So throwing those out there. So the print support applications are what basically going to replace drivers, and they're going to allow those print jobs to, in a lot of cases, have a lot of the finishing options and functionality of a traditional driver. But talking to most OEMs, the feature parity is not quite there between traditional drivers and those PSAs or print support applications. So yeah, that's one thing that we're having to worry about. But then again, the ARM64, that is a traditional driver, but it's like a brand new driver. Like they had to be kind of look from scratch. So PaperCut's trying to address both of those big changes in the industry, and trying to get out ahead of it and making sure that all of our customers are taken care of.
Yeah. And so, we can get very detailed on this, but I think we can kind of leave it there at a high level. So again, there was a lot of information on this, on the ARM64 and in the future of WPP, where it's going within this Partner Connect. And so, but also we're going to be doing some upcoming webinars more specifically on this with Roth, with PaperCut, some great information that's out there. What I'll tell you is, let us help you be the translator for this to understand where it's going, how PaperCut's going to be able to help us solve best of both worlds with driver deployments and some other areas there. So stay tuned for more of that. It is exciting. There's a lot of buzz going on in the industry right now from a lot of people saying, hey, we've got this and we've got this. Let us help you break it down, and we'll show you exactly what it means and how you can then address that with your customers to be able to sell it. Let's talk about PQD for a little bit. There was quite a bit of discussion on that. What do you think about PQD, and what does that mean?
So PQD, again, another acronym. We love our acronyms here. So print queue deployment inside of PaperCut Hive. So for those of you that are familiar with print deploy and MF, it's basically the equivalent of Hive. So print queue management, who's getting which printer, what different option printers, which departments are they going to, when they move from one place to another, does it change which drivers they see? We see a lot of organizations. This is a huge pain point for them, right? Like there is basically a survey that's like, what is one of your biggest pain points? In almost every organization is printers and print queues, right? So we're eliminating that pain point, and we're bringing them a solution that is in the cloud and is very easy to manage and deploy.
Yeah, and this is not new technology that's been out. There's been some other providers that have had some solutions that's out there for a while. So, again, Roth mentioned print deploy with MF. We've had that capability for a while now. And with PQD, print queue deployment within Hive, you're going to have that in the cloud from a public cloud standpoint offered by PaperCut. So we're really excited about that because it does bring in a whole new level of selling for your customers, if you will, being able to just sell driver deployments. Utilities, maybe they're not ready for print management. They don't want a full-blown MF. They just want to use a cloud-based queue deployment option. And that's what we're building here. So we're really excited about the future and where we're going with PQD, with Hive, and more to come on that. But definitely, if you can, even fast forward through the sections, if you don't want to listen to everything, pay attention to the PQD and what's going on there. I think it's going to be a big moneymaker for you guys out there in sales because it is a pain point for every single customer, like Ross says. Nobody wants to mess with print drivers and print queues. It's not something IT wants to spend their time on. So if we can make it easier for them and you have a solution that's backed by PaperCut and ACDI, then it's something that you guys can go out there and sell today and start making some money with. Speaking of Hive, Roth, let's transition into that. There was a lot of talk about some new features and functions that's coming into Hive, and I'm excited about that. I mean, the future where we're going with public cloud. Hive has, I looked at our stats actually this morning. We'll note that we're filming this March 31st into the quarter, that our Hive sales are up like 70% year over year. And it's fantastic. We're seeing the numbers, people are really adopting it. Hive's come a long way over the last few years when it was first implemented by the PaperCut team. And now they're just, continue to double down on new features and activity. So Raf, what's your thoughts? What's going on with Hive?
We've seen tremendous positive traction when it comes to Hive. A lot of our dealers are saying that a lot of the features that have been added is making it a very strong contender out there. Some of the things that just being released this month at the end of March, right? We have updates on job logs, right? Making it easier for administrators to troubleshoot. We have health monitoring APIs being added. Again, more administrative tools, compatibility tools, things to make implementation faster and easier and get to roadblocks really early down the road, right? During the implementation. Also very good for schools or anybody that charges for printing, admin initiated refunds, super useful feature and tool for administrators. Also, we've heard this loud and clear since they started schedule reports a couple months back. They wanted more reports. Guess what we're getting? More reports.
Right? Reports.
And then a new task tray application. Task tray kind of gets in tongue tied a little bit, so I have to say that slowly. But the task tray application allows end users to refresh their print queues. So if there's a new print queue, if they're moving from one location to another, you can refresh that. Also, the ability to log in and out. So shared office space, it's an option now, right? So all of these are extremely good features that are coming already. Some of the things that are coming down the road, got groups. We've been asking for it for a while.
What'd you say? Did you say groups? Groups?
We've been groups. We got groups. We've been asking for
our team is so excited about getting group access, right? For management, it's going to make everything so much easier. So we'll say it loud and clear. Groups was mentioned on here and it's coming. And we're all very excited about that.
Yeah, that's the big one. Also shared accounts and payment gateways. Again, looking at schools, looking at anybody who charges for printing, that's a big one too. That's something we've been asking for quite a while. And something that's kind of like a mixed bag of already here and coming is another huge one. And I like sometimes when we say the feature pull delivery, sometimes people don't know. They're like, don't you already have final printing? Yeah, we already have final printing. We already have secure printing. What do we mean by pull delivery? It means pulling from the cloud, right? So that the printer can just talk to the cloud, pull the job right down, allows for zero trust environments, right? We already have it with Kyocera. We have it with Lexmark. We have it with Ricoh. We have it with Sharps. Which ones are coming next? Toshiba, Fujifilm, and HP, right? So we're trying to get to all of the OEMs, right? And PaperCut's pushing towards it, and we're excited to see that. 200 organizations already using it, over 1,000 multifunctional devices are using it, and over 150,000 print jobs in March alone. So it's already a success, and we just want to see it grow.
Yeah. So again, it's there, ready to go for Kyocera, Lexmark, Ricoh, and Sharp. And in development, the teams are working very diligently on the Toshiba, HP, and the Fujifilm, which really aren't necessarily our market space, but it's going to help from a global standpoint, and or for some other brands that might be popping up here in the US that we can all link back to a Fujifilm brand. But yeah, it's coming, and excited to see the team pulling that down. I'm glad they shared some stats, right? Because it does help validate that it's not just a function or feature that's sitting out there and nobody's using it, right? PaperCut's saying, hey, look, we've already got some people using it. Get out there, start testing it. If you have these brands in your portfolio, then feel comfortable that it is there and something that you guys can go out and deliver. Fantastic. Ralph, anything else on Hive? Anything else that they shared in the meeting about this one?
No, that's really like the big features, but what we're seeing is that development is coming, and it's coming quicker than we just excited to see how it keeps growing and reaching that feature parity that a lot of customers are looking for, like between an on-prem solution and a cloud solution. We're getting there.
Yeah. And I think Ralph mentioned it a couple of times here, is that in the education market, there's a big focus on driving new features for Hive and education. That's always been our sweet spot for PaperCut for many, many years, since I've started selling this product in 2011. And so we want to add those new features that's going to help us go back and get those additional education accounts that really want to go to a public cloud. So seeing the shared accounts and payment gateways and stuff like that's coming is really going to help us then allow you guys to go back and talk to those customers that might have said, hey, whenever you have this new features, just come talk to us. Well, it's coming. And as Ross said, the roadmap, it continues to increase with new features and functions all the time. So make sure you're talking to your account managers, your solution architects, referencing the marketing materials that are out there on their websites in the PaperCut Partner Portal. There's a lot of resources available for you to continue to see how quickly these things are being updated in Hive. And actually, Rafa, in the admin portal, if you're in Hive, there's an update up there, right? That you can go through and follow new features.
So there's product roadmaps in the partner portal for both PaperCut Hive and MF. There's the product page, which has a little bit more technical deep dive into the features. And then there's also marketing material on those pages. So extremely useful.
Awesome. How about the flagship, the big daddy of them all, MF, right? It's not going anywhere. We're continuing to develop on it. New exciting things coming out for MF. We've got some new versions possibly coming.
So 26, obviously going to come later on in the year, but things that they're doing right now, things that our end users can look forward to. There is a UI uplift or user interface uplift on the embedded devices themselves. So on the MFP, you can actually toggle it to where it could look like PaperCut Hive, right? We know that Hive has that eye contrast, newer looking design to it. And then also there are a lot of customers that wants to start off with MF on premise right now, but potentially move to a SaaS-based product in the future, right? So when you're thinking about the end user experience, you really want that to be as seamless as possible. The best end user experience changes is when they don't even realize the change happened at all, right? So that's kind of the goal behind that. And again, as we mentioned before, the ARM64 profile that got added into print deploy, right? Very big feature. Also, modern authentication keeps pushing the envelope on that. SAML to authentication compatibility with SSL with things like Okta and other identity platforms are also being supported with PaperCut MF. So those are, security is always at the forefront of, IT administrators and the system admins. So PaperCut is definitely keeping that front of mind.
Okay, Ralph got real technical on us. Did you just see him? He just geeked out real quick. Guys glazed over, right? So let's bring that up to a high level. So from my standpoint, what I appreciate about that is the SSO, the single sign-on capabilities that PaperCut's having now. We know that it used to be in the past, we'd manage all of our users inside Microsoft. And when you log in, hey, I don't want to change passwords. I don't want to manage a user inside Microsoft and inside PaperCut. So PaperCut said, all right, let's go out and look at these other types of authentication methods that we can link to Google, right? So we mentioned SAML and Okta. So these are all third-party kind of systems that you can manage your users in from a security standpoint. The IT administrators like to pick which one works the best for them. So what PaperCut is doing is saying, okay, let's go link to these authentication systems and allow you to pull those users back into PaperCut to make it simple and seamless. So if they're changing their user information out in Okta and the PCs are logging in that way, PaperCut's logging in that way, maybe your badge authentication getting into your building and stuff like that, it's all kind of centrally located. So that's the power of why we want to look at these new modern authentication methods. It allows for security, for two-factor authentications, all that kind of stuff that's going to keep that end user secure and what the IT administrators are asking.
Just some things to keep in mind for our partners is we have webinars coming up. Make sure you join those webinars there to help get you up to speed as quickly as possible. Time is precious, so we want to keep that in mind. Also, Partner Summit coming up in the summer. We have our marketing department that sends out those newsletters. Make sure you're reading those newsletters, again, for your benefit. Our marketing department is also working on new material all the time on videos, collateral. So take advantage of those. Chris Robertson, a lot of you know him, training director, doing training classes both at ACDI HQ in Benton, Arkansas, also doing a lot of road shows. So make sure that you're keeping up with our webpage so that you're up to date with all those training opportunities for you. And like Mark said, feel free to reach out to me, your solutions architects, your account representatives. We're all here to help.
Yeah, fantastic. Ralph, great job. Thank you very much.
Oh, appreciate you, Mark. As always, it's fun to talk to you about this stuff and looking forward to the next one.